All right, let's get to it. The Pillars of the Earth by Mr. Ken Follett. Overall, I thought it was just all right. Just all right. You know, it wasn't super amazing, fantastic. Oh my goodness, you have to read this book. No, it was all right. It was a good story. You can see it's quite long, 983 pages. And if you've looked online to see what exactly this is about, more often than not, you're going to see it's about building a cathedral. And yeah, for the most part, it revolves around building a cathedral. And the people who are involved with the building, and also those who don't want it to happen. So if you're this book, it's not flashy. There's no big like plot twists or reveals or anything too crazy going on. It's very straightforward, just kind of like a day-to-day challenge of building this cathedral. You've got, and the problems come in from, you know, the people within the church, the priory, there in the small village, who may not agree with each other. You've got some issues with families and people working on the cathedral, the masons and handcraftsmen not getting along, not agreeing on things. And then you've got some parts, which is interesting. You know, they leave the town where it's going on to talk to the king. You get some interactions with the king, who's dealing with his own kind of civil war and a tug of war for power. In the meantime, the people trying to get this cathedral built, you know, they're appealing to him. It's like, hey, we need this. Can you help us with this? And while you would think he's not a bad king, it's not one of those kings like, oh, who cares? Who cares? In fact, in this book, I feel the king's kind of just like a neutral, blah kind of person. He's like, you know, he doesn't want to really offend anybody. He doesn't hate the church, but he won't bend over backwards for the church. He appreciates people who are loyal to him, but he's not just going to give them whatever they want. So, you know, the king's pretty fair in this for that sort. But you've got other people in the county, especially this family who lives about 20 miles away from the town where this cathedral is being built. And that's where a lot of the problems come in, because they're a nasty bunch. And their son, Mr. William, yeah, he's a bad dude. He is a bad dude. And if you're a little squeamish about violence against women, that kind of stuff, whenever his name pops up, you might want to skip a few pages, because he's a nasty dude. And it gets very graphic with that kind of thing, too. I want to say maybe it happens 3 or 4 times within the book. And yeah, it's not pleasant to read about. And going with that theme of violence and being graphic, there's graphic violence like sword fights and that kind of thing. There's no giant battle or anything going on, but there's small skirmishes, and it gets a little graphic, but I mean, nothing worse than probably what you've read before. So overall, in that aspect, I think it's pretty normal, the amount of violence and how graphic it is. Like I said, 983 pages, and it does manage to keep going pretty well. In fact, they don't even start building the cathedral till like 250 pages in. It's all like backstory and getting to know the people, our protagonists and antagonists, getting to know their history. So that's good. And there's also quite a massive time jump. I mean, not all at once, but from the beginning of the book to when the book ends, I think it's 40 years. And you're thinking, oh, 40 years, holy moly. There's going to be, you know, new characters coming in, characters just dying off from old age. And I think the author, he does a really good job of, yes, a lot of time passes. People get older. People who are kids are now adults. People who were babies are now fully grown adults. But unlike if you've read the Greenbone saga, there's also time jumps in that. And with those, they introduce people who weren't even born in the first book. And all of a sudden they're in the second and third book, and there's large sections of the story dedicated to them. And I didn't really care about those new people who just popped up. I just cared about the core group from the first book, and, you know, kind of like shoving their kids on you as you're reading, like, this is who you got to care about. It's like, I don't really care. But this book, The Pillars of the Earth, it does a good job doing the time jumps, but not forcing new people on you. Like I said, people who weren't born, or like in this one, there's a baby from the beginning. And throughout, they stick with the main core group of characters, following their story, and just kind of sprinkle in the new people, right? as they're growing up, kind of sprinkle in, oh, they're doing this now, maybe give you a couple pages of dialogue, give you some thoughts of from your main characters about these people. But so I was glad to see that. I saw those time jumps. I was like, oh, this is going to be where I get really, really invested in these people for 300, 400, 500 pages, and then they're just gone, and now I have to care about these new people right as the book's winding down. So that wasn't a problem. I was really happy to see that. So yeah, if you're into this part of history, 12th century England, if you like the struggles that people go through at that point in time, their way of life, if you like that time period, then maybe you would enjoy this. If you're looking for something exciting, flashy, plot twists, a lot of action, it's probably not for you, not for you. In fact, I was getting towards the end. I knew there were sequels, and I'm reading them. It's like, oh man, I don't know if I really want to read another book about the same people, the same situation. It seems kind of just like, It's almost like a TV series, the way the problems just ebb and flow. It's like, oh, things are going well, and then whoosh, nope, none of that. Oh no, well, now we kind of build ourselves back up, and then knock it down again. And I kind of got a little tired of that by the end, especially by the end. There was a couple points where it's just like, oh, here we go again with this same thing. It's like, oh, come on, let's just finish with that. So yeah, like I said, it's interesting. I enjoyed it. Wouldn't want to read another thing that was exactly like it or very similar to it. So I've got the next two books in the series. I'm not sure if I'm going to read them or at least wait a little while till I get back into the mood of reading this kind of thing. Like I said, it wasn't bad, just wasn't woohoo amazing. I'm not running out telling everybody, hey, you got to read this book. You got to read this book. Nah. If you want something to read it. If not, you're not going to miss anything. So I think that about does it. I've talked long enough. Let me know what you think. Did you have the same feelings I had? Did you have some other feelings that I totally missed and that I maybe need to reflect on? Say, oh yeah, I didn't think about that or whatnot. Let me know down below, and I will catch you next time.